NewsNation media contributor and founding editor of Mediaite, Colby Hall. Speaking of media, Colby, good morning. Great to see you, my friend. So a New York Times report lays out how, in this debate, CNN is the decider. I'm going to read the quote. For the first time in decades, a single television network will have sole discretion over the look, feel, and cadence of a general election presidential debate. End quote. Should CNN be the decider? Is this true at all? And I've been wondering this. Isn't this why we have a debate commission in the first place?
Well, as we know, they ignored the debate commission, and the Biden campaign just basically outflanked everyone. It was sort of an evil genius move on CNN's part to gazump all the other networks. And, you know, even sources of mine or high-level execs at Fox News admit that the Biden campaign were pretty genius in the way that they sort of outflanked the Trump campaign and took them at their word any place, any time. It's stunning that CNN's logo is going to be permanent on air on every network, including Fox News and MSNBC and NewsNation, that is going to be airing the simulcast. So whether or not it raises questions about fairness, that's a whole other conversation, but purely from a media angle, it's a stunning new development that sort of completely averts the presidential debate commission.
Well, Colby, isn't this a win-win, not just only for the Trump camp, but in a way, CNN? We know their ratings haven't been great. We know we're all going to be tuned in. Aren't both sides winning here in some kind of way?
I think America is winning, Hannah. I actually think it'll be one of the most interesting and fascinating debates that we've seen in a long time. And I think it's worth pointing out that former President Trump is all over the place. He does a ton of media hits. He does a ton of rallies. There's no shortage of clips of President Trump out there. There are barely any of him answering tough questions from true journalists. Right. I think Brett Baer at Fox News was the last to do that last year. So, of course, you know, Jake Tapper and Dana Bash are going to ask tough questions to both sides. So they're going to try really hard to be. But no matter what happens, both sides are going to complain because that's just the nature of the beast. And as a former flag football coach, I tell the kids, you know who complains about the refs? Losers. So we'll see. Who complains the loudest, and will tell us who won or lost the race or the debate.
Well, Vic, how can viewers expect historically left-leaning CNN to be fair? And we would say the same thing about Fox if they were hosting the debate. Would it be the same situation if another network, like, let's say, Fox, was hosting it?
Well, I think it'd be interesting to see how the moderators interact with the people speaking. That'll be how you judge this. Are they really moderating, or are they advocating? I don't think it's fair to say that Donald Trump hasn't taken any hard questions. Like, keep in mind, when he was in the White House, he was talking to the press almost every single day. He'd go out to the helicopter and do an impromptu press conference. In fact, if you ask the White House Press Association about who was more available to them to do those types of things, Joe Biden comes in a distant second to Donald Trump. So I'm not too afraid about him answering the tough questions. It's going to be whether or not the moderators insert themselves into the process. If Donald Trump says something that they think is not accurate, will they fact check him? And then when Joe Biden says something later on, will they fact check him as well? If Trump says, I won the 2020 election, will they push back? If Joe Biden says, my cousins were eaten by cannibals, will they push back on that as well? It'd be curious to see if they played evenly. The American public isn't that stupid. They will be able to tell and get the feel for whether or not the moderators have been fair or not.
All right, Colby Hall, Mick Mulvaney, and Chris Hahn. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.